Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. It's Thursday. It's Thursday, sir.
Yeah.
It's a Mara's on vacation.
Yeah.
And, we had that great day yesterday where I got flooded with responses to what is miraculous about this world. And people are writing some people writing in very simple things like, I'll just share a couple with you, Kaustubha.
No, hold on. Let's redefine, because we got to put this in context. Like if someone tunes into this show and they didn't get the last one, we need a little bit more context.
Oh, good point. All right, why don't you do
Okay,
that?
well, so yesterday we were talking about how like the miracles are happening all around us at every moment, right? Some people are, you quoted Einstein.
Take it for granted.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the Einstein quote? There's two ways to live or something?
There's two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, and the other is as though everything is a miracle.
Right.
And sort of we put it on our magic goggles, and it's not hard to see the world as a magical place. And it's not hard to see the world as a mundane, perfunctory, boring old existence too.
Perfunctory. Okay.
Like that?
Yeah.
Write it down. Keep it. It's yours.
Perfunctory. Thank you.
Use it again. So people were saying breath without having to think about it. It's a miracle.
It is.
Oxygen is provided. There's so many gases, but
there's a heartbeat in there with that too, right?
there's a heartbeat in there. The whole body itself, truthfully, it's just quite fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
The chirping of crickets is in perfect pitch, like they harmonize.
Really?
Scientific truth. Grains of sand, when magnified, look like piles of jewels.
That's
Try
incredible. I've seen that, yeah.
The body knows how to use the mouth. the whole mouth and the elimination. How about this one? Food grows on trees and is good for you, and it tastes good. Come on. That's the Krishna miracle right there.
It is.
How about the smell of air before it rains? It's quite, I don't know if it's a miracle. It's cool.
It's a miracle. We're gonna either everything's a miracle or nothing's a miracle. Okay, there's only two ways.
There's only two places to choose. Okay, here's some miracles I wrote down. Check this out. This is for our Swiss people out there. Paracelsus, a Swiss physician. Here's this thing that foods are shaped like what they're good for, and sometimes they have the color of what they're good for. Here's some interesting ones.
Really?
Kidney beans, good for the kidneys. Boom. And they look like kidneys. Sweet potatoes, good for the pancreas. Look like a pancreas.
Exactly like a
Carrots,
pancreas.
if you cut them, they look like eyeballs, like the pupil of an eyeball. Good for eyes. Avocados, good for the uterus. Walnuts, you tell me.
Good for the brain.
The brain. They're little brains. Ginseng looks like your entire body. Good for your whole body. Bananas. I made up this one. They make you smile. They just sort of make us. Bok choy, rhubarb, celery, bones. Think about celery. It looks like a bone.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Ginger, if you hold a clump of ginger, it's good. Looks like a stomach, good for your stomach. It's a stretch, but I'll take that, Paracelsus. Tomatoes, if you cut them, they actually look like the heart.
Do they?
I guess there's different
Yeah,
tomatoes.
I suppose they got different chambers or something.
Yeah, but it's also good for your blood.
All right.
Blueberry's good for the eyes, shaped like an eyeball.
Pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I guess anything round anything round good for your eyes? I'm going to be the skeptic.
Bullets, BBs, bad for your eyes.
All right. Yeah.
Buckshot. Yeah.
The miracles are all around.
It's a magical day today. I'm ready for more magic. Bring more magic to my life, people.
Well, we never got to the story that was related to the whole thing that we were talking about yesterday.
The cobbler. Why don't you tell the story about the cobbler? This is good.
We're talking about trees, and we're talking about the banyan. Prabhupada used that banyan analogy in the commentary that we read yesterday, right? So there's this famous story. I don't know if it's actually Shastrik, like if it's coming in one of the Puranas or something like that.
It's one of the Puranas, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why do you think that? You just kind of remember that or something?
I just remember that. There's a lot of Puranas out there with a lot of these stories,
And they're really big. Like,
they're
we
massive.
think Bhagavatam is 18,000 verses. Like, oh my God, that's huge. But like, I think like the Vishnu Purana is like 80,000 verses or something like that. It's
So there's what is
a lot of stories.
18 Puranas.
Yeah.
Purana means ancient, so there's sort of like ancient histories of the universe, including all the gods and there's one specifically on ghosts. You know that?
No, I'm not familiar with the Ghost Purana.
That's the Garuda Purana.
Okay.
It's real.
All right. In any case, the story about the cobbler apparently did not come from the ghost one.
No,
Ghost
it's
Purana.
from Vishnu Purana.
And so here's the story. That Narada, so Narada, for those who don't know, he appears throughout Bhagavatam, throughout Puranas, throughout Mahabharata. He's everywhere. He's a sage. He's called the what is it? The sage amongst the demigods. Sometimes.
Oh yeah, 10th chapter Bhagavad Gita.
He's like totally absorbed in bhakti. He's got his instrument, right? He's got his veena. He plays, and he just goes from place to place. Singing these devotional songs.
He's beyond time. He can travel in and out of time to different planets. Yeah. Carries nothing but a musical instrument that he chants on.
He commonly appears just at the right time to share what needs to be shared, right?
Yeah. He's also sort of an instigator in a transcendental way.
To move
Instigators
the
in the
forward.
material world are hated. Hey, go hit him. He was talking about you. Hit him. You should hit him. You should hear what he said about you. But Narada instigates. It appears
Did that
like
ever
he's
happen to you, Raghu? Someone told you that?
Oh,
I could see you there like, should I hit him?
Do
I have to hit him now?
Instigation.
Okay. You should hit him.
Had a traumatic experience. But anyway, he instigates, so the pastime happens quicker.
Sometimes he does that.
We all benefit from that. So continue on, my friend.
So Narada was going to go visit Lord Narayan, Lord Vishnu, in the spiritual world in Vaikuntha. And on his way, he passes by a brahmin. Right? So when you hear about a brahmin, you think, oh, someone who's like deeply absorbed in their spiritual practices, practicing their rituals, chanting their mantras, getting serious about their practice, right?
Brahmin.
Yes. So the brahmin says, oh, you're going to see Lord Vishnu, are you? You're going to see Narayan? That's great. Hey, could you do me a favor? Sure. What do you need? Could you ask him like how long I'll remain in this material realm, when I'll return, to Vaikuntha? He says, sure, I'll be happy to ask ask him that. Thank you. So then, Narada's on his way, and he also happens to pass by a cobbler.
Cobbler, simple guy. By the way, cobblers are working with leather as well.
Yeah. So it's you're not thinking that this person is necessarily externally. He doesn't appear like he's so concerned with his spiritual life. He seems to be kind of, caught up in some of the lower modes, perhaps, and engaged in, activity that's not necessarily deeply connected to spiritual life. Right?
Well, the cobbler, I say this because Mirabai's guru was a cobbler, or worked with ahimsa leather, like leather from dead cows.
That died of natural causes.
Yeah, and there's a caste for a type of sudra caste that did that.
Mm-hmm.
That they also would make the mridungas.
Yeah.
Because the mridungas dealt with those type of leather too. So it was considered like a lower to work with it. It was part of the culture.
A Brahmin
Like
wouldn't be interested in that.
Yeah,
job.
the Brahmin wouldn't go near it. So this guy was doing his duty, but he worked with unclean things.
Apparently, yeah.
To hide.
So the cobbler says, "Oh, well, that's wonderful. You're going to see Lord Narayan. Could you do me a favor? Sure. What do you need? Could you ask him how long I'll be here in this material realm? You know, how many more births do I have to go past through before I return?" He says, "Okay, I'm happy to ask him." So Narada goes and sees Lord Vishnu, right? And when he's there, he said, "Oh, by the way, you know, these two people asked me about when they're returning. You know, there was the Brahmin and then there was the cobbler." And Lord Vishnu says, "The cobbler, he'll be back with me after this lifetime. You know, at the end of this life, he'll return to me." Okay, very good. And how about the Brahmin? The Brahmin, that's another story. You know, him, I don't even know how many births it will take for him to return.
Why do I feel like Lord Vishnu's saying that about me?
No. Why? Because of your humility, I suppose.
No, I'm just being frank.
So what happens is, and he says, "Oh, and by the way, when they and even Narada, he says, oh, you know, that's almost surprising to hear it like that, right? The Brahmin appears to be so, appears to have his mind engaged in spiritual substance all the time. You know, that's interesting.
Chanting his mantras.
You know, how do I understand this?" And Vishnu says, "Well, this is what you do. When they ask you what I was doing, when you came to Vaikuntha and you saw Lord Narayan, they said, well, what was he doing? You know what you tell them?" What did he say, Raghu?
Tell them that I was threading a needle with an elephant.
Yes. I
was putting an elephant through the head of a needle.
Through the eye of a needle, right?
Yeah.
Narada says, okay, I'll tell them that. And so then Narada goes back, you know, and then he bumps into the Brahmin. And Brahmin says, "Oh, Narada, you're back. Great. Hey, you back from Vaikuntha?" "Yeah." And he says, "Oh, tell me, what was Lord Narayan doing when you saw him?" "He was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle." Oh, what is absurd. What are you talking about? You know, and he says, well, anyway, what did he tell? What did he say about how many births? Oh, he said it was going to be many. He didn't know how many births. You know,
many births. It's a long time.
A long time for you guys.
Get comfortable here, chanting those mantras. You'll be here for a while.
So he's just like, oh, this whole thing was just nonsense. Your whole get away from me, Narada. Okay.
That's like me when the astrologer reads my chart and says something bad. He's not a good astrologer. What does he know? I think I start questioning his criteria.
Yeah, it was like that. And then he bumps into the cobbler, and the cobbler says, "Oh, welcome back, Narada. So good to see you. Hey, tell me, what was Lord Narayan doing in Vaikuntha?" "He was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle." "Amazing. That's just so wonderful to hear." You know, he's like, "You actually believe me?" He was, you know, "Of course." He said, "I don't understand it." He says, "Well, look," and so the cobbler, he's working under the banyan tree, right? Sitting under the banyan tree. And he says, look at this tree I'm sitting under, this huge, massive banyan tree, right? We said that the largest one is half a square mile in Calcutta.
Takes up a whole city block.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So he says, see this tree? It gives off like thousands and thousands and thousands of fruits, just like you see a fig will drop from a tree, right? Thousands of, when they come out, it's just like there's tons of them. Yeah. And then inside every fig, you know, inside every fruit, there's like thousands of seeds. And inside every seed, there's a whole new banyan tree ready to come out. So if the Lord can put a whole banyan tree in the seed of a banyan tree, what is there that he cannot do? Right? He was seeing them. He was seeing the miracles.
And he's going right back.
Well,
did he tell him that? Did we tell him that yet?
I don't know if he even asked about that.
Yeah, and by the way, you're going back in your next life. So it's due to that, like that connection with, yeah, this is a miraculous world. Mm-hmm. When you start to look at that, it starts to give you. That's the importance about being in the natural world. Like, yeah,
It helps.
The being in the country, it's humbling. Being by the ocean, it's humbling. Being in the desert, it's humbling. Looking at, one of the first things people do when they come upstate to New York is say, my God, the sky. The sky
stars.
is so massive. It's so beautiful. It's unbelievable.
Hmm.
And so we're humbled by nature. In cities, we're looking at man's creation. Look at the Chrysler Building. Look at the Liberty Tower. It's like, it's like we're fascinated by man's creation, man who is the second-hand creator. We take the elements of nature, manipulate them, leave piles of waste in landfills, and then we call this, look at my art.
This is starting to sound like a Shelter lyric to me. I think you were drawing
This could
from.
be a song.
Were you drawing from the Shelter, that second-hand creator thing?
Secondhand gods.
Secondhand
gods. That's a Shelter line.
So I mentioned this at while we're having the dance cameras. When you're up there in the country and you're sitting there in your maple syrup
Sugar Shack clatch.
Sugar Shack clatch, and you got your denim jacket and your bandana on, you're thinking, I'm so spiritual out here in nature, and that Kaustubha, he's there in the city.
He
doesn't know anything about nature. He doesn't know anything about this kind of thing. And then I broke out my tree book, and I just blew your mind yesterday.
Impressed everybody. It was very good.
I got my tree book. Don't think that you're so special, Raghunath. I'm reading my tree book every day. All right. So, any case, that was the story that Prabhupada was alluding to in the commentary yesterday. But it's it sounds like a simple kind of folklore story, but actually, it's a huge clue to life, right?
Yeah. Look for the magic.
Yeah, it's everywhere. We're just missing it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, you know what we do today?
Read the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah. More specifically.
Thursday. What do we do?
Not Thursday. We're starting a new chapter today.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, and this is a great chapter. There's, right off the bat, Vidura is going to ask Maitreya 2 questions, and we're going to get answers to those questions. And I mean, these are great, fundamental. These are keys to life right here.
Don't you love Kaustubha's enthusiasm for the little things? Oh, you know what we're doing today? Vidura's going to ask some questions.
That's not a little thing. That's a big thing. Yeah, he's asking the big questions. That's my point. Like, how come? This is one of the questions. You ready?
Yeah.
This is a good question.
Yeah.
If God is in the heart of every living being, right? Then why are we suffering so much? What's going on? How do we fall in illusion if God is right there? Right, that's a good question.
Yeah.
All right, that's just one of the 2 questions that's going to be asked, but we'll get to them. I don't know if we're even going to get to the answers today. Let's see. The questions are so good. Just the questions.
Well, this is great. Can I tell you, my 14-year-old son, when he was 2.5, asked me a good question. My son Raghu, he said,
"Yeah,
where does hair come from? Is it stored in the head?" Is that a great question for a kid to ask?
Is it stored in the head? And is there enough room?
Like it just keeps coming out of the head. What a great question. With all my kids, I've written down.
What was your answer?
I was like, I don't know. It comes from God. Using God to answer the questions you can't figure out.
Right.
I've very quickly realized my kids are all smarter than me. I still got one. No, he's smarter than me too. There is a short window where you're smarter than your kids, and then that window closes quickly, and you realize they know too much now.
Some people know something that you don't know too. Everybody's telling you on the chat board that today's Friday, Raghunath. It's not Thursday.
Today's Friday.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's share the podcast Friday.
Oh, that's right. What do you call it?
Teaching yoga.
Freak out Friday. Freaky Friday. Tell a friend Friday. That's what it is. Tell a friend
Friday. That's what it is. You got to take a snapshot. You got
to tell a friend that it is Friday.
Right. You got to tell your friend it's Friday. Hey, it's Friday, and you should listen to Wisdom of the Sages. Everybody's got a friend out there that's on the fence of spiritual life or going through something, and say, hey, maybe you need this light in your life. Maybe you need the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah, share it on your social media or directly send the message to or the podcast to a friend.
We got a
speaks
nice.
to them.
Someone did that yesterday. Gypsy Soul on Instagram.
Gypsy Soul. I think that's Matilda. I think
No,
Matilda's
no.
Gypsy Soul.
It's someone else.
No?
I mean,
not?
maybe she's a Gypsy
Sorry,
Soul too.
Matilda.
I'm not saying Matilda's not, but this Gypsy Soul.
No, Matilda is Groovy Peanut. I think.
That's
Is that you?
Oh, that's Matilda.
okay,
Groovy
okay.
Peanut. Cool. So anyway, but she said
People are trying to how many names I gotta learn 2 names for people, and then they got their Discord name. That's a whole nother trip.
So anyway, Gypsy Soul said they don't know it, but like every day, these guys are answering all my questions in life. Like it keeps every day, you know, like what I need to hear is coming up, and you know that's Bhagavatam, right? That's another miracle, right? Bhagavatam does that all the time.
I mean, that's the thing. You open the book and it answers your question. That's like the magic 8-ball, man. It's like it happens. The Bhagavatam does that.
Does.
Well, you know why? Because as different as we are, we're very similar. You know, we have different stories, but the truth of the matter is we're the same in a lot of ways. We just have to have different like circumstances. Everybody's falling in love. Everybody's getting their hearts broken. Everybody's getting some stuff. Everybody's losing some stuff. Everybody's getting old. Everybody's, you know, and we're witnessing death, and everybody's witnessing birth. And it's pretty much the same story for everybody forever, but we just have different circumstances that we're playing out. And so sometimes someone will, I'll give a Bhagavatam class or a class, a satsang, or be on pilgrimage, and someone will be like, I can't believe you said that about me in class today. I mean, I told you all those things privately. I was like, I didn't know what you're talking about. Just give it a class. You revealed all the, or they say that was exactly what I'm going through right now.
Yeah.
Because everybody's been going through that forever. And sometimes the classes might not hit you, but sometimes they'll be right on with everything you're going through. Because that's how similar we are.
You know, maybe even it's like maybe it's even connected to the miracle thing in the sense that the answers are all around us all the time, but we're not seeing them. But then when we get plugged in, we start to see the answers all the time in everything, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And the Bhagavatam is that, you know, it's a big cannon of knowledge, and it shoots the cannonball of truth at you. All right, so let's dive into our magic mantras.
All right, let's do it.
And let the magic continue. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the personality of Godhead Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service to the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I offer my obeisances to my spiritual masters who have opened my eyes, which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance with the ointment of knowledge. Well,
I think we got to retranslate that because when you put the
let's retranslate it.
Because it sounds like you might have darkened your eyes with the ointment when you phrase it in that order.
You know what? Someone sent that to us.
Really?
Someone here on the Zoom board. You know who you are. I can't remember, but yeah, it's a little clunky.
It's a little clunky. We can work.
It's hard to translate.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's serious work.
Serious work. The British, you know, they were the first. You know, they came over to Max Mueller, the original translators.
On the British again?
They got so many things wrong. You ever heard that they translated Paramahamsa, which means swan-like, into the Great Goose, and they couldn't understand why they were calling their gurus the Great Goose. The British were confused.
Oh, you ready?
Yes. O Supreme Swan.
Oh, I'm just ugly
Further
duckling.
inquiries by Vidura.
Chapter 7.
Those swan-like Kaustubha. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, O king, while Maitreya, the great sage, was speaking, Vidura, the learned son of Dvaipayana Vyas, expressed a request in a pleasing manner by asking this question.
In a pleasing
Questions are
manner,
always
he
asked, right?
Yeah.
But they have to be you're not challenging. You're going back and forth in a sweet way.
Yeah, it's built into the science of spirituality that knowledge is transferred. Like, it requires more than just stating the information.
Yeah.
And hearing the information, because even like what we're talking about now, two people are looking at the same thing, one's seen it as a miracle and one's not. It has something to do with your disposition as well, to be able to see truth, to receive knowledge, has something to do with your disposition, not just your brain.
We might have a disposition that repels knowledge and truth. And you might see like, well, that's not fair. I was like, and the answer is, yes, it is, because you created this. You created this Frankenstein. It's okay. You can uncreate it. But like my daughter, when we had those geese here, we don't have them anymore, but we had these geese.
Hold it. What happened? What happened?
My friend took them.
Okay.
But they were just like, I was like,
not around any major holidays, I hope.
No.
Okay.
Ahimsa geese. They're
good.
But the geese were just geese are protector birds. They have a job to do, and they can be nasty.
They protect their own eggs, you mean?
No, they protect all the animals on the farm. Like
geese do.
Predators stay away from them, like foxes and raccoons and things like that, because they're so ornery. They're just like ornery birds, and they'll chase you around. And so I just like, I hate these. I just had a bad.
Hold it. Our whole thing.
I understand. I understand. There was a lot of lessons from these geese, but I will say, my daughter, my daughter could go right into their little house. There was a little house they had.
Yeah.
They were always free running around, but they had a little house where they would nest and lay eggs. And even when the mother was laying eggs, which when the hen is the most protective, my daughter could go right in and pet the mother. And it's just because her disposition was different than mine. So in bhakti, you need the disposition to make even someone sort of like not in a great place, like a goose-like, to sort of like give and to be affectionate. And so the student also has the right mood. And when the student has the right mood and the teacher has the right knowledge, then there's an incredible exchange happening. If the student's got a bit of like what I did with the geese, like I had no relationship with the geese. Why? I had like an attitude with the geese. Who do these geese think they are? I'm feeding them, and they're coming after
me a hard time.
They're pecking the wires of my tractor. Who are they?
I spend time with geese on a regular basis, Raghunath. You see, you don't know that, even though I live in the city. Yeah. I just had to walk, 10 minutes. I'm at the Bethesda fountain in Central Park, and those geese come right up to you,
Let's keep it on track, Kaustubha. Let's keep it back in the Bhagavatam.
We're talking about geese. Okay.
I'm the one who drifts. You're the one who's supposed to pull me back.
Okay, I'm gonna continue the thread that you're working on regarding disposition.
Okay. I'm
gonna tell a guru story. Okay.
Okay.
Once I was in Vrindavan, staying in Vrindavan, and I was staying with Gunagrahi Maharaj, like in his room, right?
Yeah. That's a Swami, a renunciate monk who was sort of like one of me and Kaustubha's teachers. Yeah.
But I was serving my guru, Tamal Krishna Goswami, who was staying in another little house down the road. And now you have to understand the context of this because, this is what happened. So my guru said to me, Guna Maharaj says that you're really serving him very nicely over there, And I said to him, oh, well, he's very easy to please, right? Now, when you have to understand that in the context of this, that was like that little phrase was pregnant with meaning, right?
Yeah.
because
Kaustubha's guru was not easy to please. He was like
notorious.
fastidious Virgo, like incredible detail oriented, and he was very difficult to please.
So I don't know whether I meant to convey more than what I said or not, but certainly, it did convey more, right? Like by my saying he's very easy to please, it implied that my guru was very difficult to please. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So he took that part of the thing in, right?
By the way, I just made an offense there. I'm going to take it back.
What do you say?
It's not that he was difficult to please, but he made you raise your standards in any type of dynamic or interaction. That's what. He wasn't hard to please. He was pleased.
He felt difficult to please. Right?
Okay, he felt
and this is what he said, and this is the point. So I said, well, he's very easy to please. And then he looked at me. You know how he could kind of give you that look,
Yeah, he gave me that look many times.
So he gave me that look.
If you thought... Even look at Henry. Henry's like, oh, I know that look. Henry was also on the receiving end of that look.
Oh man, I could tell stories that involved Henry with my guru. Oh man. Anyway, where I got that look big time. So any case, so I said to him, yeah, he's easy to please, and then he gave me that look, and then he said this, without having to say anything, he said, I'm also very easy to please. Right? He says, I'm also very easy to please. You just have to have the right disposition. Right. You just have to have the right disposition. And that, what is bhakti except, kind of the shifting of my disposition, right?
Yeah.
We move through this world wanting it to revolve around us, wanting to find, pleasures and satisfactions and comforts without difficulty, wanting to have a separate life, free of dharma,
Krishna is the enjoyer. He is Bihariji, the enjoyer. And we want to be the enjoyer.
We want to be the enjoyer, but we don't have all the potencies that he has. We don't have, and so naturally we bump up against this world, with all the others that are trying to be the center of it. We're trying to be the center. There is no center in that.
We just bang it
mindset.
into each other. Worlds
Crashing.
Are colliding left and right.
Yeah, crashing into one another. So it's simply the change in the disposition, right? Oh, I've been thinking all along that I get my happiness from trying to adjust everything so that it revolves around me, but that's not working. I don't need to play this game anymore. Change that disposition, right?
Yeah.
So as we're saying, but just a simple thing like the transferal of knowledge from one person to another. Why does one person look at the fig and think, oh yeah, that's some food. I like it or I don't like it. And another person is looking at that fig, and the mystery of life is playing out.
Well,
the Cobbler.
I really feel like culture has made us even worse. We've become monsters.
Yeah.
Like you can have like an orange tree. I remember living in California, an orange tree growing through like the cracks of a parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, look at this. I mean, and because I'm from the East Coast, you appreciate orange trees more. So I just pulled my convertible next to the tree, climbed on the hood of the convertible, and started picking oranges. And the guy pulled up next to me, goes, you can eat those? And I was like, what the hell? What has gone so... And like fruit is growing wild all over like Los Angeles. I had maps of fig trees, avocado trees, wild grapes, guavas, pineapple guavas. I knew all over LA where to find fruit growing wild. And the thing is, it's like people just start thinking there's such a disconnect where food comes from that they think like these must be some weird, creepy, rogue fruit. So it's not even like it's this. Yeah, it's not even like a fascination. And it's not what you said. It's like a step below. Like we need to get our food in a package, then it's good for me. Mm-hmm. We need to get our...
In other words, not only are we not seeing the mysteries of the universe in a fig, but we don't even know what a fig is anymore.
We know like a fig Newton.
Fig Newton. Yeah, could you please bring this back in the Newton form and I'll eat it.
Right. I mean, I didn't know what a fig was when I was a kid. I knew what a fig Newton was.
Right.
Most people have never seen a banana tree. They eat bananas their whole life. Never seen
Sometimes when
banana trees.
my wife, we'll be having a meal and we'll be saying like, how does this thing grow? Sometimes we don't even know
Like
how a particular
pineapples.
fruit or vegetable. Most people
If you
think they grow
don't know,
like on a big tree, right?
Zoomers, if you don't know how pineapples grow, write it on the chat board right now. I'm very interested.
I know how they grow.
You know?
They grow out of the ground, like on a kind of like
They
a
grow
big
it
stem.
out of the stalk of the head of that pineapple.
Yeah,
A lone pineapple shoots up out of that thing.
yeah, that's right.
I've been to the Dole Farm in Hawaii, by the
Have you
way.
really?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I've got one growing in this room. Hold on a second. You keep talking.
What? Don't do that to me. Now I got to sit here and wait for you to come back with your pineapple. We believe you, Raghunath. We believe you.
I just wanted to show you what I'm working on right now.
Okay. Did you? How did you plant that thing? Now you messed up your microphone.
Another miracle.
There you go. Another miracle.
I do it with my romaine lettuce too. Cut it, plant it, more romaine lettuce. Boom.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle.
Okay.
This world is a miracle.
All right. You ready for verse number 2?
Then it composts.
Oh,
Then you
compost.
compost. The whole thing is magic.
You probably don't think that I compost because I live in the city, Raghunath, right? I compost.
Go on. Okay.
All right. Text 2.
Let's go with this. Text 2. Sri Vidura said, O great Brahmana, since the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the complete spiritual whole and is unchangeable, how is he connected with the material modes of nature and their activities? Like here's a spiritual being.
Yeah.
How are they connected with this material world?
It's almost like saying, we're the warden's in the prison. How is he in the prison? If he's the guy that kind of is like in charge of the prison, what's he doing inside the prison?
I
Is
can
he in the
understand if he's
prison?
outside the prison.
Yeah, if he's outside the prison, but he's inside the prison, right? Okay.
If this is his pastime, how do the activities of the unchangeable take place and exhibit qualities without the modes of nature?
If he's beyond time, how's he involved in playing here where it's pure time? There's a beginning and there's an end. There's a start and
People
there's a
say
finish.
this all the time. How is Krishna in this world? Is he in this world? Like,
Yeah.
he died, Krishna was born. These are good questions.
Text 3 relates to this too.
Text 3. Boys are enthusiastic to play with other boys or with various diversions because they are encouraged by desire. But there is no possibility of such desire for the Lord because he is self-satisfied and detached from everything at all times.
So little kids, we say they play because they have material desires, right? I want this, I want that, I want to go play. Now you're saying that God, he's in this realm, he's playing around. Well, why would he want to play? He doesn't have desires like us, right? Isn't he beyond that? And isn't he beyond time? And isn't he beyond the modes of nature? Isn't he unchangeable? But we were changing all the time, and that's why we're in this, trying to figure this out. Now this is important, Raghunath. This is important because within Vedanta, within, those that study this Vedic literature with faith, there are two basic ways that it's understood or interpreted, let's say. Some believe that we are all God, right? Like we are all that unlimited, and that in the end, all is one. There is nothing but that one energy that is God. And so, if that's the case, then what am I doing right now? Like, if I'm God, how did I get stuck in this position?
How did I get in this miserable condition?
Yeah, and then sometimes the answer to that is that this is our lila. And the word lila literally means play, like children play, right? And in the context of like the text too used the word lila in it, I believe. And so in the context of of this Vedic literature, that word lila, it means like the divine play of God, right? Yeah. So some would say, you see, this is the question. This is the one school says that we're all God, and the other school says we are the energy of God, but we're not God. We're one with God in terms of quality, but we're dependent on God. God is the source, and we come from that source. So one and different. The other one says, the other philosophers say, no, we are God. We are that energy. We are unlimited. We've just lost touch with it. Well, how does God lose touch with anything? Well, it's God's play. It's God's play. Now, both say that God has play, But how can the sufferings that we, when we talk about Krishna's lila, they write poetry about this kind of stuff because there's no other way to try to explain just how sublime it is, right? The relationship between Krishna and the gopis, the love. This is for you, Raghunath. The love between Yashoda and Krishna, that lila, right?
By the way, I used that prayer that you gave that day.
About offering.
Bhagavatam. I use that prayer every day to offer food.
Isn't it nice?
It's a beautiful prayer.
There you go.
Oh my Lord, I memorized it.
Oh, let's hear it.
All right. Oh my
Hey,
Lord.
by the way, just Mara, we know you're out there listening.
We know you're out there, Mara.
And when you come back, I think Raghu's going to be testing you on Bhagavad Gita 1866. And don't forget that.
1866.
While you're out there on the beach
No
in California,
no
surfing
pressure.
or whatever you're doing.
Learn it.
Learn it.
Anyway, if you're new to the show, before we eat the food we offer the food. We say a prayer over the food. And so here's the prayer. My dear Lord Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
He says Murari, but I like Krishna. My dear Lord Krishna, just as the wives of the Brahmanas, prepared you.
Just as you enjoyed the food offered by...
enjoyed the food of the wives of the Brahmanas, and just as you enjoyed the food from Vidura and Vidura's wife, and just as you enjoyed the breast milk of Mother Yasoda, and just as you enjoyed the sweets made by the gopis, the cowherd girls of Braj, please accept this offering that I'm now giving to you.
May you enjoy it just like in the same way. Right?
May you enjoy it in the same way. I sort of Raghuized
sort of. Well, okay. If that's
I didn't fully memorize it, but I feel like it's better just coming from me free flowing.
What you just did was you made Mara's job a lot easier. She can kind of come and paraphrase the verse. Okay. So in any case, Krishna's lila with his mother, right? You read about that. Krishna, here's Krishna unlimitedly powerful. We just read in the last chapter how he spreads his energy throughout the entire universe and is maintaining it. The planets in their orbits and all the miracles that we're seeing, the placing a banyan tree within the seed of a banyan, and the miracles of the human body. And Bhagavatam is saying that's all coming from this divine person, right? Yeah. It's all he's the root of it all. It's all stemming from him. But meanwhile, that person appears like a little boy, and his mother is chastising him, correcting him, punishing him sometimes. He's crying.
No material sense.
He's crying. Yeah, it's like, but this is the
supreme
point.
Absolute truth is crying and rubbing his eyes, and his mascara is dripping. It's crazy talk.
He's wearing mascara? What's with that?
Well, whatever that cudgel. It's mascara.
So that's lila. Why? Because Krishna enjoys the love, because the love comes out in the play, right? Because he feels what her love is like in that form, in that play, in that divine play. He's experiencing the love. Sometimes he's playing with the girl. Sometimes he's playing with his friends. Sometimes he's playing with his parents. That's called lila, right? Now that's an explanation I can get. How has that all-powerful being appeared in this apparently small, limited child's form for the sake of lila? Okay, I can buy that because his whole business is to enjoy divine love. Makes sense. But if the other school says we are all God, and okay, well, if we're all God, why are we here suffering? Well, that's our lila. Now, to me, I'm sorry.
The suffering lila?
Yeah, like
I
the
don't
toothache
want that
lila.
lila.
That's not the same.
Stub my toe lila. I got a deep splinter in my foot lila.
Yeah, that's not the same thing as what's going on with Krishna, And so in the first explanation, it's like, okay, I get it. Why Krishna comes as lila. Why do we come? We don't come because of lila. We come for a reflection of lila, right? Mm. We come but we become covered by that energy because we are the marginal energy. We're not the root of everything. We're made of spiritual energy, but it's called the Tatastha Shakti. We're like middle ground. We're spiritual, but we can become covered by the material.
Sure.
Whereas God never becomes covered. So when that question is asked to the other school of thought, right, which we could call the Advaita Vedanta, how is it if we're all God that we're here in this world and going through our suffering? Well, that's lila. That's the question that's being brought up here, right? That's the question that's being brought up. And it will be answered. I don't know if we'll get to that answer today. We probably won't. But we'll just get the questions today. Okay.
Layers, like a gobstopper.
Yeah, we're going to come back next Monday, and we're going to answer these questions, and these are really great answers.
You know what a gobstopper is, right?
You bring up gobstopper all the time on the show. Okay. And then you bring up the example of paint in New York City apartments, right? In the different layers. Yeah. I know your analogies, right?
You know my analogies, right?
Okay. Text 4.
Text 4. By his self-sheltered potency. You know, I've noticed Papa Tony's not here when Mara's not here. And Ellie's not here.
Ellie was here yesterday.
I know. Oh, yeah. Okay. Papa Tony. Ellie.
Okay. Come back.
You're just here for Mara. Okay. Okay. Text 4. By his self-sheltered potency of the three modes of material nature, the Lord has caused the creation of this universe. By her, he maintains the creation and conversely dissolves it again and again.
Okay. So he's got this power, right? Like this ability to create and destroy this material world. What
pure soul
Yeah, go ahead.
Is pure consciousness and never out of consciousness, either due to circumstances, time, situations, dreams, or other causes. How then does he become engaged in nescience?
Big question.
Not knowing. Nescience, not know.
To not
right?
know.
Or just ignorance. Yeah.
So that's related. He's going to expand on this question, but let's just look at this verse again. Text 5, Vidur, questioning Maitreya. This is what we've heard, that the Atma, that the pure soul, right, that spark of spiritual energy that is us animating our bodies, that this consciousness is never out of consciousness, either due to circumstances, time, situations, even dreams, or any other cause for that matter. Well, if my nature is to always, if I'm made of spiritual energy, and I never change, spiritual energy, material energy means always changing, right? That by definition. And spiritual energy means never changing by definition. So if I'm made of spiritual energy, well, then how do I lose consciousness of who I am and therefore suffer in this world? We're told that spiritual energy, it doesn't matter the circumstances. It doesn't matter. Time can't. Time affects everything material. It changes everything material. Time doesn't change the Atma. It stays the same. It can't affect it. Even dreams, right? Like these crazy illusory kind of periods that we pass through, the Atma stays the same through it, But if that's, if that's what we are, if we are unchangeable by nature, how are we in this realm experiencing change all the time? We feel like we're changing. We feel like we're being changed. We feel like we're getting shifted and warped and twisted in different ways. How can that be if we're made of spiritual energy? In text 6.
We're identifying with the...
Don't answer the question now. Let's keep the cliffhanger. Okay. Keep the cliffhanger.
Text 6. The Lord as the super soul is situated in every living being's heart. Why then do the living entities' activities result in misfortune and misery? Right? God's in your heart. Why are you tripping down a flight of stairs?
There's a let's read a little of the commentary to this one.
Okay.
The next question put forward by Vidur to Maitreya is, why are the living entities subjected to so many miseries and misfortunes in spite of the Lord's presence in their hearts as the super soul? God's with me all the time. Why is he letting this happen, right? Yeah. The body is considered a fruitful tree, and the living entity and the Lord as super soul are like two birds seated in that tree. This is a famous Upanishadic from the Mundaka Upanishad and I think other Upanishads as well. The individual soul is eating the fruit of the tree. We're trying to enjoy this world. But the super soul, the Lord, is witnessing the activities of the other bird, right? God in the heart has no interest in this, in trying to enjoy material things.
Yeah.
He's just kind of watching where we're going to turn.
Checking stuff out.
Checking us out. A citizen of the state. Okay, so here's Prabhupada uses another analogy. A citizen of the state may be in miseries for want of sufficient supervision by the state authority. Like, I'm walking down the street and there's no cop there. Okay, I get it if I get attacked then, right? But how can it be possible that that a citizen suffers from other citizens while the chief of state is personally present. Right? Like if the person that's running everything is right here all the time, how are they letting me suffer?
Yeah, why is there pain in this world? If there is this all benevolent God, why is there any pain whatsoever?
Yeah. Why do we suffer the way that we do? Okay, so
Good question.
It's a good question. Let's continue. He says, from another point of view, it is understood that the jiva, living entity, is qualitatively one with the Lord, and thus his knowledge in the pure state of life cannot be covered by nescience, especially in the presence of the Supreme Lord. How then does the living entity become subjected to ignorance and covered by the influence of Maya? The Lord is the father and protector of every living entity, and he is known as the Bhuta Brit, or the maintainer of the living entities. Why then should the living entity be subjected to so many sufferings and misfortunes? It should not be so, but actually we see that it happens everywhere. This question is therefore put forward by Vidura for solution. All right. We're going to get to that solution next week. I think we're probably not doing a show Monday. I mean, people are asking on the chat board.
People are asking. We'll let you know full disclosure tomorrow during Q&A day.
Okay, we'll figure all that out.
Yeah.
All right, but these are good questions, are they not, Raghunath?
They're great questions. And,
fundamental, important questions.
These are the questions that we ask during Q&A day. You know, these questions always will come up. They'll come up eternally, and the answers will come. And just like in the same way, you'll give an answer, and I'll give a slightly different answer, and maybe your answer suits one set of ears better, and my answer will suit another set of ears. These are eternal questions and eternal answers. So oftentimes in the Bhagavatam, you'll find they were offered 5,000 years ago when the Bhagavatam was enacted out with Krishna. But then there's these ancient ones, millennia ago, and these are and historically, the same things come up again and again, and they will come up in the future. The Bhagavatam is an eternal Q&A. And even the Q&A day, which happens tomorrow, is part of the Bhagavatam. It's an extension into the present of the Bhagavatam. By the way, if you have questions, write them in. wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. We got Mara working there on the beach, you know.
Hey, you know what we're supposed to be doing?
Huh?
You know what we're supposed to be doing right now? What are the takeaways today?
I'm waiting for the board to come. No one's writing anything on the board.
Nobody gave us any takeaways
today.
People? I got a takeaway.
Okay.
Yeah, Bhagavatam is the magic 8-ball, right? You've got questions. If you're looking for the answers, Bhagavatam's going to be given to you every day.
That's a good one. I just came up with that today. Bhagavatam is the magic 8-ball. Okay.
Another one. Disposition is important. Knowledge isn't just an academic thing, but it's one's disposition is important.
Yeah,
it's a takeaway, right?
Yeah.
Any others?
I didn't write any down. It gets me out of my flowing. It gets me out of my flow. Elephants and needles. Elephants can fit through needles. Why not? Why not? How about that? Why not?
Why not?
What
Miracles everywhere. Be humbled by nature. Lady Di.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you. Lady Di's the only one that listened to us.
Lady Di, thank you.
Everybody on Zoom gets like a C- today.
We got to do better.
And you're only getting that for showing up.
Time doesn't change the Atma. Okay. Well, you know, today was more about questions than the answers, right? So we'll come back with the answers, and then maybe we'll get more takeaways.
Exciting. Okay, now there was valuable information we were supposed to share about today. I don't remember it though.
Geese are dangerous.
What's that?
Geese are dangerous.
What classes are there today? That's the question, my friend.
There is a Bhakti Recovery Group meeting today at 3 p.m. Eastern Time.
Oh, yeah. Yes. It's actually for adult children of alcoholics in dysfunctional families. 3 p.m. I have a yoga class. And,
here's the takeaway.
7 p.m.
We got a takeaway from A.J. Sullivan.
Okay, AJ's good.
Raghunath is a geese-hating pineapple farmer.
What?
Why do you hate the geese?
It's
a beautiful creatures.
Disposition with those geese.
They got incredible feet and everything like that, you know?
Yeah, they're quite beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
I got a yoga class at superslowyoga.com. I'm also doing a Gore Purnim thing on Sunday evening in New Paltz, if you're from around this area. You can show up in part of a Gora Fest. You can go to Gora Fest, GAURAS.com, and check that out.
You know, I'm doing a thing on Sunday too.
What are you doing?
At the Bhakti Center. Yeah, Bhakti Center. They're having a little Gaur Purnima festival. Somehow people can come and go with masks on or something. They're arranging it somehow. So I speak there at 4:30. I think they're broadcasting that somehow too.
Awesome.
Maybe we'll find out more by tomorrow.
All right, so choose your loyalty to me or Kaustubha by which one
Who's it gonna be?
You're going to go to. I guess. Do you love mom or dad better? Okay, now she sent us information on how to use the dance cam. I just didn't.
Oh yeah,
read
yeah.
it.
Let me see if I can figure that out. Let's see.